Trump supporters lining up for his rally in Tulsa this weekend, the president is issuing a warning to demonstrators who may show up at the event as well, tweeting, "Any protesters, anarchists, agitators, looters, or lowlifes who are going to Oklahoma, please understand you will not be treated like you have been in New York, Seattle, or Minneapolis. It will be a much different scene." An apparent threat, the president is ready to unleash the same kinds of brutal tactics used to clear out Lafayette Square earlier this month. White House officials attempted to clarify.
What he was meaning are violent protesters, anarchists, looters, the kind of lawlessness that we saw play out before President Trump came in with the National Guard and calmed our streets with law and order.
White House officials are also trying to downplay the risks of catching the coronavirus at the rally at a time when cases are spiking in Oklahoma. Press Secretary Kayleigh even said she won't be wearing a mask to the event. Will you and other White House officials be wearing masks at the rally?
It's a personal choice. I won't be wearing a mask. I can't speak for my colleagues. I feel that it's safe for me not to be wearing a mask, and I'm in compliance with CDC guidelines, which are recommended but not required.
There's no reason to be walking around with a mask. It's not providing the perfect protection that people think that it is.
Dr. Anthony Fauci told CBS Radio people in large crowds should wear a mask.
There's no reason to be walking around with a mask. It's not providing the perfect protection that people think that it is.
Dr. Anthony Fauci told CBS Radio people in large crowds should wear a mask if they cannot practice social distancing.
There's no reason to be walking around with a mask.
The White House is also defending the president's tweet exploiting video of two young toddlers hugging one another to take potshots at press coverage of racism in the U.S. In a rare rebuke of Mr. Trump, the tweet, which included phony news graphics, was labeled manipulated media by Twitter.
Jen, yes. Hopefully, I'll limit you to 20 questions today. How about that?
Thanks, Kayleigh. Will any White House officials be at the rally tomorrow?
There will be several White House officials at the rally tomorrow.
Will those officials, or will you be there, for example?
I will be there.
Will you and other White House officials be wearing masks at the rally?
It's a personal choice. I won't be wearing a mask. I can't speak for my colleagues.
And why won't you wear a mask? Is it sort of a personal political statement? Is it because the president would be disappointed in you if you don't wear a mask?
It's a personal decision. I'm tested regularly. I feel that it's safe for me not to be wearing a mask, and I'm in compliance with CDC guidelines, which are recommended but not required.
And if I can ask you about last night, the president tweeted out some fake videos, one of which was labeled manipulated media by Twitter.
These people are stupid. These people are fucking stupid. Trump tweets fake video exploiting toddlers. Twitter labels it, quote, manipulated video. Twitter on Thursday night labeled a video tweeted by President Orange Man Bad as, quote, manipulated media. The move marks the third time Twitter has taken action against Trump in a month. Trump tweeted a video with a fake CNN graphic. The video claims, quote, America's not the problem, fake news is.
Why is the president sharing fake videos on Twitter about two toddlers?
It's fake. Good job, idiots. It's a fucking meme.
Who are obviously showing a lot of love for one another. It seems as though he's exploiting children to make some sort of crass political point. Why is he sharing fake videos?
It's a fucking meme.
He was making a point about CNN specifically. He was making a point that CNN has regularly taken him out of context, that in 2019, CNN misleadingly aired a clip from one viewpoint repeatedly to falsely accuse the Covington boys of being, quote, students in MAGA gear harassing a Native American elder. That's a harassing video, a misleading video about children that had really grave consequences for their future.
So you're saying it's okay to exploit two toddlers hugging one another on a sidewalk to make some sort of political point.
Stupid bitch!
As you know, the president has described members of the press as fake news. Can you state categorically?
You are fake news. That is correct.
When you share fake videos like that, doesn't that make you fake news?
I think the president was making a satirical point that was quite funny if you go and actually watch the video. I think he was making a satire. The point is it was a play on CNN repeatedly taking the president out of context. Like the time when you guys had a chyron that read, Trump slammed some illegal immigrants, they're animals. Well, guess what? The people he called animals were MS-13 illegal immigrants who regularly mutilate people in this country. Those things are entirely misleading.
John, is it appropriate for a president to ever call anyone an animal, even if they are sadistic gang members?
Yeah, I think that's something to watch out for. The history of political leaders dehumanizing opponents, even criminals, and using animal metaphors is a dangerous one. That is not something that we should accept from an American president.
Just keep in mind, this is an old game that the White House plays. Trump says something that's incredibly offensive, and then he comes out and says it's fake news, it was taken out of context, it was just a joke or something, so he gets to slam the news media as well as getting his offensive comments out there to his base. Don't fall for it. So I think fundamentally the coverage was basically fair.
All right. Pointing out the president has referred to some Mexican immigrants as rapists. He has tried to pass a Muslim ban in this country. He has described black NFL players as sons of bitches if they take a knee during a football game.
You stupid.
That's an absurd attempt to justify the misleading headlines that are regularly on your network. Like I was just walking in, watching CNN as they lauded the quote rallies in the streets.
Are you saying that the president
gotta let me finish, Jim. This isn't a cable news segment. I'm answering your question right now from the White House podium.
When I walk out of here,
when I walk out here, Jim, and I see on your network celebratory headlines about the rallies and the protests outside, and you actually said protests and rallies. So in light of a protest, if these gatherings happen in light of a protest or a rally, as you say, that rally is to be condoned, but not the president's rally. I mean, it's appalling. You have one person on your network saying that this is a celebration in the streets, a carnival-like atmosphere. There's a guy with a sign that says free hugs. It's beautiful what's happening in the streets. There is music. People are hugging. You celebrate hugging in the context of a protest, but in a Trump rally where we celebrate historic low African-American unemployment, criminal justice reform, HBCUs, that rally is not allowed because guess what, Jim?
You are fake news.
It doesn't fit the ideological agenda of CNN. Peter Alexander.
Let me ask if I can, Kayleigh, why does the president keep hiring people who are dumb as a rock, overrated, way over their heads, wacko, and incompetent?
So the president makes hiring decisions based on the fact that he likes to have countervailing viewpoints. I spoke to him this morning about the hiring of John Bolton in particular, and he said, I like to counterbalance my own opinion with individuals that oftentimes have the very opposite opinion of my own. He likes the model of having a team of rivals, like what we saw in President Lincoln's administration. I've been a part of that. I often see rigorous debate, and the president uses his gut and makes the best decision as to how to move forward. So that's what goes into his hiring practices, and I think the team of rivals with President Lincoln worked quite well.
Yesterday, in an interview with the Wall Street Journal this week, the president was speaking about Juneteenth, and he said that nobody had ever heard of Juneteenth. What does that say about the president's relationship to the black community if he would say that when millions of African Americans in this country commemorate it each year?
Well, look, what I would say is this president's routinely commemorated Juneteenth. The president, what he said is...
He said he learned about it this week.
No, he did not say that. As Secretary Carson emphasized, I talked to the president about the Juneteenth event. I was pleasantly surprised about how much he knew about it, the whole history of it. He did not just learn about Juneteenth this week. That's simply not true. And as to Juneteenth, there were a lot of people who didn't know what Juneteenth was, and Google searches prove that. And you can see, I looked at the chart on Google searches on Juneteenth, and this year they went like this, and that's thanks to President Trump.
Dr. Anthony Fauci told CBS Radio people in large crowds should wear a mask.
The outbreak has many of you asking, do I need to wear a face mask? The answer, no. The CDC does not recommend the routine use of face masks in the community. Instead, it wants everyone to avoid people who are sick.
A key member of the president's White House coronavirus task force said on CNN this morning that a new policy may be coming. Right now, the CDC is saying masks should only be worn if you're sick or you're taking care of someone who is.
Dr. Anthony Fauci told CBS Radio people in large crowds should wear a mask.
My concern is that people will feel a false sense of security using a type of mask that may not protect others from their illness.
Guess what, Jim?
You are fake news.